Woo. Hey guys, it's Peyton, and today I'm going to be talking about the books that I read in May. Before we get into this video, I just want to remind everybody how important it is to understand and realize that all lives can't matter until Black Lives Matter. And yeah, you just need to know that there's racism in this world. It is something that cannot be ignored, and if you're ignoring it and using your privilege to hide and just run away from the situation, you are a part of the problem. I encourage everybody to go look at the links down below. I have places you can donate and places that you could find petitions and everything, so definitely go look down below. And also a playlist of Black booktubers that Mayana made, so definitely go check that out. Now let's get into the books that I read in May. I actually read 5 books this month, which is kind of like my average. 4 to 5 books is typically what I do, but I'm really trying during the summer to up this because, come on, like, I have more time on my hands. I'm not in the middle of a college semester. I need to start doing better and like shoot for like 8 to 10 books because I just want to do it. So maybe next month, we'll see. The first book that I read was There's Something About Sweetie by Sandhya Menon. This book I gave 4 out of 5 stars. This is the companion book to When Dimple Met Rishi, which I think I read in April, and I gave that book like around a 3 stars. I enjoyed it. It just wasn't all that amazing for me. The romance didn't really hit it, and I didn't really like the main character. Macy, shut up. She's scratching her ear really loudly. But this one I thought was better, mostly because I really like the romance a lot more, and romance and contemporary books are really important for me. If I don't feel it, if I don't feel the chemistry, and I'm not into the relationship, typically the book doesn't get a very high rating, because if I'm reading a contemporary, normally I'm trying to read something cute and a romance. So if it doesn't hit me like that, it's disappointing. But this one, it was definitely cuter. It is about these 2 Indian American teenagers. The first one is named Sweetie. She is very curvy, and her mother body shames her all the time. People do it all the time. They tell her she's fat, like just overweight and everything, and like she feels confident in her body, and she's accepted the way she looks because she loves herself and is on that journey, and she doesn't think she needs to lose weight to be beautiful. And her mother really attacks her about that all the time. She's literally a track star. She's the best person on the team. So obviously it's just her body, and you know, she loves freaking running, and I love that about her. And then we also have Ashish. He is the brother of the main dude from When Dimple Met Rishi, and I like him a lot better than Rishi. Like, he's just so fun, and like he's funny, and he's just like so cute and like cocky, arrogant type of dude, but also really sweet on the inside, which is kind of the thing that I like in my YA book boyfriends. And I just really thought their relationship was cute. Pretty much Ashish and Sweetie start to date, but their parents kind of set them up. Sweetie's parents doesn't know about it because her mom's terrible and said someone like Ashish wouldn't want her, which obviously is not freaking true. They date behind her parents' backs, and Ashish's parents create the dates and like they go on it, and it's just super cute, and I really enjoyed it. And I definitely encourage people to read this book because I have not read any other Indian American books, and definitely need to fix that. I really enjoyed her book so far. I need to read her other one that she has. Actually, she has 2 other ones that are out, and I definitely need to check them out. You should too, because they're definitely cute, and I don't know, I just really enjoyed it. The next book I read was Foul is Fair by Hannah Capin. This book I actually was gifted by Boston from, I think her channel is Boston Reads Books. I might have gotten that wrong, but thank you for that because this sounded so good. I didn't know this before going into this book, but this book is low-key a modern retelling, reimagining of the Shakespeare play Macbeth, which I read that in senior year of high school, and I'm really glad I did before reading this book. Because knowing the story of Macbeth, I was able to get even more enjoyment out of it. It's pretty much through the perspective of Lady Macbeth from the Shakespeare play. And if you don't know anything about the Shakespeare play, Macbeth is a dude that freaking kills a whole bunch of people so he can be king, and his wife, Lady Macbeth, is like whispering in his ear pretty much the evil mastermind behind it and saying like, you need to kill this guy, or you need to do this, like you need to be the best of the best, blah 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 blah. She's such an interesting character, and seeing it in this book when I didn't even expect it, I just started seeing coincidences, and then I was like, wait, foul is fair. That's literally a quote from Macbeth, so I feel really stupid for not clicking earlier. It's about this girl, her name is Jade, and something horrible happens to her in the beginning of this book. So there's definitely trigger warnings for sexual assault. It doesn't actually show the scene, but it's heavily implied that that happened to her. At the beginning of the book, we see her right after it happened. And the whole premise of this book is how these teenage boys, because it was multiple boys, at this party that they were at, they messed with the wrong girl. They shouldn't do it to any girl, but they messed with the girl that was not going to stay silent and was not going to let them get away with it. To the point where she is plotting their murders. She changes schools and everything just so she can like infiltrate, because that night she looked different. She had a wig, eye contacts. So she looked different, so they're not gonna recognize her immediately. So she's like infiltrating their school, literally trying to make an evil plan to get all these boys murdered so she can get revenge on these stupid boys. So this is pretty much every girl's dream. You know, we all know how disgusting sexual assault is, and it happens to women and men and non-binary people. So it happens to everybody, but we know that to women it happens crazy more, and it's just disgusting, and normally there's a lot of cases that never get solved. People don't get justice, and it's terrible. So if you really want to read a revenge story, like pure revenge, she is getting it. And honestly, everybody in this book is morally gray. Even the main character, she is literally so okay with murdering people to the point where it's scary, but I've lived for it. I also gave this book a 4 out of 5 stars. I just couldn't fully give it that 5 stars. I don't really know why. It's just by the end of it, I didn't feel the full vibe, but I definitely recommend this, especially if you are familiar with the story of Macbeth, because it just makes it that much cooler. But even if you aren't familiar with that story, I still think you could get enjoyment out of this, because dude, if you want to see her get revenge, read this book because it's crazy. The next book I read was my most anticipated book of the year. You probably already know what it is before I'm gonna say it, but The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins. I gave this book a 5 out of 5 stars. I have a whole reading vlog for it if you want to go watch it. It's like 40 something minutes long, super long. I still have yet to make a full length book review for this. I just needed a moment, because if you have been keeping up with my channel, all May I posted Hunger Games videos and theories videos, and I was just constantly talking about this book. So by the end of it, when I finally read the book, I did the vlog and everything, I just needed a moment. I haven't even really watched anybody's vlogs. Like, I need to go watch people's vlogs, because I don't know, I think I just was so immersed in The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. I was so excited, like, it's all I could think about. So when I was done, I was just like, oh my god, I need to breathe. I need to, like, let this story simmer. So let me know if you still want the book review, where I can go more in depth into the book. And, like, yes, there was still things I didn't like, but in the end, I'm not that critical of a reader. So I gave it 5 stars, even though there was things I could say that weren't the best, but overall, I thought this was a really well done book, and you probably have already noticed that there's a lot of mixed reviews for this book, and it totally makes sense to me. I can see why people wouldn't like this book, and I can see why I would love the book. It was so interesting to me the whole time. A lot of people's things that I've heard, like, they're just saying it was super boring for them, and I can see that. I got a little bit bored in part 3 of the book, but I was still going because I knew something was about to happen. I just felt the suspense of it. So I was still really into the book the entire time. I read it in literally, like, probably less than 2 days. And it was just a whole ride for me. Every bit of information we got, it just made me so excited. We got so much backstory on the original Hunger Games trilogy. And it's just something as a diehard fan where like I literally know those books through and through. It just made me so happy. Like I just enjoyed myself so much, and I also thought it was just really smart with the political theories that she got going on here with Locke and Hobbes. Those are really famous like philosophers, and she was kind of balancing the ideas that those men had in their days. And there's a video, I think by Elena the Great. I don't know if that's her channel name or not. I might have gotten it wrong, but oh my god. She made a really good video going in depth on the political side and just the theory behind this book and the message it was going for. And I'm like not smart enough to explain any of that, so I would go watch that video if I were you. I'll link it in the cards if I can. But overall, this book gave me what I was hoping for. She did not make me like President Snow. I still hate him. I hate him even more now. And we got just backstory that I just felt was precious, and I'm just so pleased that I got to find out about it. Like I'm so thankful she decided to do it. I know there's going to be people that hate this book, and all I'm asking for is just let me like it and let me enjoy it, because I enjoyed it and it just made my Hunger Games heart happy. So that's all I'm going to say about it for now. The next book that I read actually ended up being like the most disappointing book of the month. I ended up giving it 2 stars, which if you know me, I don't do 2 stars. Like, it takes a lot for me to rate a book 2 stars. Like, it's just hard. Like, I'm not a critical reader, but dang. It was Children of Blood. Oh, I already messed it up. Children of Virtue and Vengeance by Tomi Adeyemi. This is the second book to Children of Blood and Bone, a book that I've read twice and given 5 stars, and I just love that book. It's so well done. It is the first in a high fantasy series following an all-black cast, and I just loved that book when it came out, and it came out almost like 2 years ago. So we waited for this book for a long time. It's significantly shorter than the other one, which I feel like is important to point out, because in the end it felt like we were just lacking so many scenes. And if you look and read the acknowledgments of this book, she admits that this book was like originally like 600 something pages, and she like deleted so many things, and I genuinely felt that she did that. And also, she had to push back the deadline for this book several times, and honestly, if anything, that gives me signs that she was struggling with this book, to be honest, and maybe the pressure of everything was getting to her and she didn't really know how to follow through with a sequel. So unfortunately, this book really hit second book syndrome, but I'm still super excited to read the final book in the trilogy whenever that comes out, because obviously from the first book, I know that she can write really great books. Like, I know she has it in her. This one just personally was super disappointing, mainly because I just like fell out of love with the characters. Like, there's 3 POVs in this book, and only one of them I was really into. The other 2 characters, like, they were so annoying. Like, all the decisions they made and just everything, like, and if these 3 characters just communicated and had a full-blown conversation where they just freaking listened to each other, it could have all been fixed. And I hate when books are like that. Like, if they just communicated, it would be fixed. Like, can we just have, like, a plot where, like, it's too far gone that they can't even talk and fix it? Because, like, oh my gosh. Like, miscommunication pisses me off so much in books. Also, even though so much seemed to happen in this book, I was so bored. And I don't know how that happened. I was so bored in this book that the last 100 pages I had to, like, read super fast, like to the point I was almost skimming, but like I still was reading with comprehension pretty much as fast as I could read it as possible, and it's just so sad. And I'm really hoping the third one comes through and it just fixes everything that's went wrong with this book. And it's just so freaking sad, because the first one, like, I loved the characters. It was so interesting, the magical world. I haven't even explained the book yet. Dang. It's pretty much follows a girl named Zaylee. She lives in this country of Orisha. There is a evil king, of course, who is really against magic, and that's not good, because Zaylee, she is from a bloodline of magical people. If they have white hair, they are of the Magi. So her and her mom were Magi. Her mom was murdered in a bunch of attacks that the king did, and one day magic is completely gone because of his actions, and the princess, so the daughter of the king, escapes years later, and she has the answer, and she's like, dude, I know how to bring back magic. She joins up with Zaylee. They go on a journey with Zaylee Zaylee's brother Zan, who I love, who was barely in this book, and it was so freaking sad, and Amari, the princess. They're journeying to try to bring back magic, but oh no, the crown prince Anon, he is hell-bent on stopping them because he thinks magic is terrible, just like the king does. It's such a fun adventure, and this one was just not. Like, it's so sad. Ugh. The final book that I read in May, I almost said June, oops, was Fortuna Sworn by KJ Sutton. I cannot say that title for the life of me. Is it Fortuna Sworn? I don't know. I googled the pronunciation and it said Fortuna. And every time I say that, I can't help but think of tuna. So I'm terrible, but I ended up giving this book a 4 to 5 stars. The author sent it to me for review. It's like a self-published high fantasy adult novel. It's about fairies and like the Unseelie Court, which I'm really intrigued by. I've written about the Unseelie Court myself in a book, so like I'm into it. So when she emailed me about it, I was definitely like, ooh, I'm into this. She also gave me the second book. I still need to read that. So hopefully I read that soon, because I was really freaking murdered by the cliffhanger that happened in this book. But I don't feel like I want to say too much about this plot because I don't want to give it away. But obviously it's about this girl named Fortuna Sworn. It's the main character's name, and she is called a nightmare. She is able to, if she touches you, she can go in your mind, find your worst fears, and prey on those fears and make illusions. So if you are afraid of snakes, she could make snakes wrap around all over your body. Like, even if it wasn't really happening, she can make you truly believe that it was. At the start of the book, we actually see her get captured by these goblin dudes. They're trying to sell her. They think she's a werewolf. No, she's not a werewolf. And also, this is like a world like much like our own, just with the addition of the supernatural, so people know about it, I'm pretty sure. Also, her brother 2 years ago disappeared. Most people think he just died or something, but she still has never forgotten. And this dude comes up to her in the cage because obviously she got kidnapped by the goblins who were trying to sell her. He comes up to her. He's a fairy. He helps her get out, and he's like, bro, I think I know where your brother is. So they go on a journey. They end up going to the Unseelie Court. That's what I'll say about it. So the majority of the book were in the Unseelie Court, which is all about trickery and everything. Like, they are just little monsters. Like, they always try to trick people, and I really enjoyed like seeing all of that because I just love magical like fairy shit. And, you know, Sarah J Maas trash over here, so I was really into it. And pretty much she has to go through a series of situations and tasks to be able to get her brother back and his freedom. Might be more complicated than she thinks it will be, though. So I definitely recommend this to people who want to read adult fantasy books, especially if they like fairy books. Definitely adult. Like, there's adult things in here. I really enjoyed it, and it's gonna be like a really long series, so I think I'm gonna get up to date and be like ready for this shit. So I recommend it. It was not too long, and it was a super fun ride, for real. She did not tell me to say good things about it, by the way. I don't want it to seem like this is sponsored. Like, I just got the book and was told to review it, and I ended up really enjoying it. So I definitely recommend it for people who are fans of like The Cruel Prince and like ACOTAR, because those definitely gave me those vibes in this book. So those are all the books that I read in May. Let me know what you read in May, if you've read the books that I read. I'm sure you probably read The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes if you're subscribed to my channel. Like this video, comment down below, have a good day. Please subscribe, make sure to follow all my social medias, which are linked down below, and go click the bell button, which is right by the subscribe button, which you should have already clicked, and goodbye.